Good evening, everyone. I want to say thank you for being here. This is an especially wonderful evening for me this evening. As we get started, I want you to take a look at the office behind me. You'll notice something different if you've been here to my psychic hours before, and that is that my white sofa bed that has been on that wall for the last 20 years has disappeared from my office. And that's because a couple of weeks ago, as many of you know, many of you live here in Florida, so you know firsthand, a couple of weeks ago, Hurricane Ian came through this area and it took my couch with it. So there's something missing. At any rate, the park bench is going to be there for a while until I decide what else I want to do with it. Maybe you guys have some suggestions on that. Folks, welcome to my Psychic Hour. It's always a pleasure to be here with you, and especially so tonight. So thank you for joining me. We've got so much to cover, so I'm going to jump right in. First off, I want to do a little bit of housekeeping, which I always like to get started with. And so I'm just going to take a moment of your time and mine to go over what's here on the PowerPoint. First off, if you haven't been to my website, please do visit it. I'm at www.sandyanastasi.com, and you can always sign up for my courses and any of the specials I'm running on the website. Check out all of my newsletter items. They're all the way up there. If you don't have the email coming to your inbox, do sign up for my newsletter, because that's the best way, I think, to get all my material. It just comes straight to you once a month. I don't bother you with a lot of emails, but the things that are important you get, and you don't have to go looking for them. I also have an app, and if you haven't tried it yet, give it a shot. The app works pretty well, and you can do everything on the app, including come to these psychic hours right on the app. And so it's a good thing to have, and we found it especially valuable during the hurricane, because when a lot of the computer things weren't working, only telephones were, it was pretty easy to use an app on your smartphone or your iPad and jump on to the webinar if you wanted to. So you can study anything that's on my website that you've purchased. You can always get it on the app. Also, we have an open forum. I know I sound like a broken record. I tell you about this every month, but I want you to have something to take advantage of, and this is it. So many people, especially people who are just starting out in the field of metaphysics, and they're having psychic experiences themselves, or they have questions and they don't want to wait for the next psychic hour, and they're like, oh my God, who do I have to talk to? And if you have close friends that you can share your experiences with, or family members, consider yourself very lucky, because there are still many, 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 many people in our world and in your country, your state, that live out or live in a Bible Belt, or live in an area where people who see spirit or get messages from their guides, or just have metaphysical oriented questions they would like answered, are looked at as kind of being freakish. So we need a place, folks. We all need that. We need a place to be able to let our hair down and to talk about the things that are important in our world, and to share our experiences and to share our questions. And so that's what my open community is on my website. It's free to everybody. In order to have access, you just have to sign up for my newsletter. And the only thing I'm going to bother you with is once a month you get my newsletter in the mail. If you don't want it, you can just flush it. But as long as you're a newsletter member, you have automatic access both to the free items on my website. I have a free tab, and also to the open forum. And you can go on there and post anything. And it's not a Facebook or a Twitter where people are going to come and get in your face and make snide comments. It's a place where you can share confidences, and you are going to be respected, and you're going to be looked out for, because both Lisa and I do have full access, and we police all of the forums that are on or the communities that are on the website. So take advantage of that. I know a few of you already are, quite a few of you as a matter of fact, and I think it's beneficial. Take advantage of it. VIP memberships drive, it's still on. First of all, did you know that my VIP membership community that you can join. It's $197 a year or $20 a month, and which is very, very inexpensive considering it has over 200 fully downloadable audio courses in it in all areas of metaphysics. It's just a cornucopia of metaphysical information. At any rate, I'm holding my membership drive between now and the end of the year. That has a complete astrology education in it. So you can get the equivalent of a college degree. I've had many, actually there are many professional astrologers in the world, in our country today, that are that studied those classes. That's exactly what they studied and got their certification and so forth. It does not give you college credits. It just gives you our credit, and believe me, it puts you up there at the professional level after about a year and a half of study. And it's all in the VIP, including my book, Astrology, Art, and Science, which you can also buy on right on Amazon.com. Okay, my What's Coming in 2023 webinar, the registration's open. That webinar is going to be on December 8th of 2022. Folks, if you really want to have a good understanding of what's coming up, don't miss it. I will not know, my guides channel this information. I will not know what they're going to tell us until that night. I have an outline, I have a PowerPoint, so I have a general idea of the structure of what I'm going to be talking about. You can look at all that on my website. I do show you where we're going to go with the information, but precisely what they're going to tell us, I don't know, and I won't know until that evening. And you do get questions and answers, so you get to come on and ask your own specific questions, and my guides answer that. So you get that information as well. So this is really going to be an eye-opening, absolutely amazing webinar. I hope everybody's going to be able to attend. And I'm telling you guys about it because it won't actually, well, yeah, it's going to be in the newsletter. So I am advertising it, but not with any kind of great press because it's not December yet. But that webinar is going to fill up. So if you want to go to it, make sure that you get your registration in early, and make sure you have your questions lined up too, because you're going to get a chance to answer them or ask them, and I will answer them. And I'm really excited about it. The one that I did last year, What's Coming in 2022, was absolutely amazing. We had an enormous attendance, great questions, and that information that came through is still in process of manifesting. Okay, I go back every once in a while and I re-listen to that webinar, and I'm actually astonished at how accurate my guides were in the predictions that they made for 2022. So I'm hoping they're going to be just as accurate for 2023. Lord knows we all need it. And no, I didn't know about Ian. Okay. People always ask me that. Did you know about that storm in advance? No. And at any rate, that's its own story. Maybe I'll write a book on it one day. But no, didn't know it was coming here. Probably should have, but I didn't know. Okay, folks, if you missed these web classes, they're $25 a piece. Intro to Spirit Communication and I'm Not Psychic, or Am I? These are video classes. Okay, you can get them on my website for $25. And I'm running a special now for $10 on, I put this down here, so I'm going to honor it for those of you who are on the call with me tonight. This was supposed to be erased. That $10 was actually going to be on last year's What's Coming in 2025. But folks, since I wrote it here, if you email Lisa, that's the only way you're going to get it at this price. She can get these 2 web classes to you for $10 a piece. And that's only for people who are on here with me tonight. That's going to be your bonus, wow, you're a great person. Okay, so if you want either one of those video classes, be sure to let her know. Okay, VIPs, our next coaching call is the 27th, so it's coming up next Thursday. Please, please, please don't miss it. We changed the date on that, so if you got hung up, I'm very apologetic on that, but we are holding an October session, so we meet monthly in person like this with my VIPs, so make sure you're there Thursday. The next psychic hour is, and everybody should be making a note of this, is November 20th of 22. So that'll be a month from now, a little more than a month. Please make it a point to put it in your journal so you don't miss it. Register now. Now, my monthly specials for October are going to be valid for another week, right up through October 31st, Halloween. So if you want to get this reading, Vampires in Your Life, it's $300. It lasts about a half an hour. You're going to get a free MP4 video that I'm offering as a bonus when you get that reading. It's my Dark Forces webinar. Okay, it's a webinar you can't purchase any place on my website unless you purchase the Evolution of Consciousness series, which is a expensive series. It's over $100. So you're going to get it included with not the whole series, but the Dark Forces MP4 downloadable video if you get that reading, Vampires in Your Life. Now, what is the reading? The reading is something we all should have, folks. Everybody has vampires in their life. It's something that is a weakness. So this reading shows you where your weakness is, that you attract people, events, situations that have a way of bleeding off of your energy. And that could be a lifelong problem, or it could be a problem that's just recent. And we will be able, my guides and I, to pinpoint where that problem is coming from using your astrology chart and the cards. And we're going to be able to not only pinpoint it, but show you how to maybe totally eliminate it from your whole life, because the same things that give you the weakness, the same potential, will also show you where you can develop a strength to block it out and no longer be victimized by that thing that's vamping on your energy. So if you think you're one of those people who gets vamped, that reading is for you. You've got another week to register for that. You can get the reading at any time, but it has to be purchased before the end of October. I also am offering my after death reading, and this is on my website all the time. This isn't just for now, but the Vampires in Your Life is just for now. That's not a reading I always offer. But the after death reading I do offer all the time. The thing is, this 2-session consultation is $100 off if you get it before the end of the month, before the end of October. So this is a very expensive reading. It's I'm not quite sure on the price. I think it's either $600 or $550, and you get to have it for $100 off at this time. What we do at the first session is we talk about what happened when you lost your loved one. We talk about the situation itself. So perhaps you can gain a lot more insight into the circumstances of what happened, and it focuses on you and how you can deal with the situation. And it's really very, very healing to be able to go over this with my guides and I. And the second session in that after death reading talks about the rebirth of your deceased loved one onto the other side. It follows them over there. It says, what are they doing? How can you now connect with them? How can they be helping you in what you're doing? How can you help them in what you're doing? It shows the continuation of life. So this entire reading is incredibly healing. If you've lost somebody that was very important to you, or if you're having trouble letting go of someone, or there are unresolved issues with somebody that you have lost, this reading is something you probably should not pass up. Now, I'm also still until the end of the month, and also through next month, offering my VIP membership drive. And each month, running up to the end of the year, when you join and pay your membership in full for the year, and we have PayPal credit, so you can actually get the whole thing on PayPal credit and pay it down over time with PayPal credit if you choose, without interest. The thing is that this month, up through the end of October, I'm going to give you my Psychic Protection Tips MP4 program. That's a complete program. It's only available if you register for the VIP before the end of this month, before the end of October. And that program is going to give you a psychic protection tip for about 6 months. You're going to get one, and sometimes there are bonuses thrown in, bonus tips. Every week, you're going to have another tip to practice. So if you're somebody who needs psychic protection, you are going to learn from the best. Let me tell you, you're going to learn how to protect yourself. Let me tell you how good the protection is. We're going to get Lisa, who sheltered with us during Ian. We're going to get her to write an article. I know she's got this stuff bubbling up inside. She sheltered with us, and she and Ron, my husband, and I were in our living room during the 8 hours that Ian spent sending 155-mile-an-hour winds at this area of Florida. And we had total quiet and calm inside of the house. Our dogs were just laying there having a normal doggy day, sleeping on the floor, and all of the weather was outside. Isn't that amazing? Wow. Protection works. It really does work. I don't believe. Oh, and I did have a window break in my office. That was at the peak of when the hurricane shifted its direction, and a shingle hit the window. Otherwise, that we wouldn't have had that window break. But even with that window broken, those 155 miles an hour winds came into my office. And if you can imagine 155 mile an hour winds flowing through an office and glass flowing with it, flying in the air. And my husband and I came in here almost immediately, very quickly, because we heard it. And we quick boarded up the window and had to nail the door shut so that the wind wouldn't take the door, because it was even getting around the board. We did not get touched by the glass. Neither one of us had a scrape on us. Anyway, I'm just going to leave you with those thoughts. Psychic protection works, folks. It's real, okay? And it works in many, many ways, physically, spiritually, emotionally. So offering this as a free bonus is really an incredible gift, okay? So yes, it's my VIP membership drive, and through the end of October, if you join, you get that program free. I also have as a special that's running both this month until the end of October and next month, but the payment schedule changes. And that's the early bird special for the Anastasi System of Psychic Development. My famous, world famous Anastasi System of Psychic Development class begins on, I think it's January 26th this year. And so I'm not advertising it in a broad way yet, only to you folks who follow me in this way. And you get early bird bonuses, and they're special. This year's early bird bonus for that class is going to give you 1.5, that's like the equivalent of 8 sessions, okay? 1.5 sessions or classes for free, because the discount is so great. I have it written down somewhere, but Lisa can tell you more about it. It's almost $1,000 discount. Don't hold me to that. She'll know the exact number. The thing is, it's just an amazing discount, and the only people who can get that discount are the early birds. So that early bird special is being run now. So that's one perk. And the other good thing about it is that because it's a special, I'm also offering you a 3-pay option. So if you pay for it before the end of October, we'll divide the cost into October, November, December. So you'll be totally paid off by the end of December. If you order it in November, you'll pay it November, December, and the beginning of January, because it has to, the last payment has to meet us, it has to reach us before the class actually begins. But you get a 3-pay option, which makes the payments for this class a whole lot easier. And as I said before, we do offer PayPal credit that gives you the ability to pay your things off over 6 months with no interest. So that's just automatically wonderful. In November, I'm offering Black Friday specials all month long. First of all, there's that early bird special on the Anastasi system. I also have my year at a glance reading. It's back. Please, folks, if you're one of those people who comes back to me every year to get that reading, don't waste any time. Book it, call Lisa now, schedule it. I know this sounds like it's way off, but it's not. I only do that reading through the end of February, because once we're 2 months into the year, how valuable to you is a reading that covers the entire year? You see, you've already lost 2 months of it. So I will only do that reading, physically do it, until the end of February. So when you pay and Lisa schedules you, she's filling up a spot. And there are only so many spots. Those spots will fill up. Last year, I had a backup of people who just really were very unhappy that they could not get that overview. What the year at a glance reading does is it gives you an overview of how the year is going to affect you personally, and then it goes through the year month by month for you. And it tells you about high points, the places you're going to be faced with challenges, often what the challenges will even be, how you should work around them, where you should put your time, your effort, even your money, okay? It's absolutely amazing. It gives you that overview that helps you to flow through the year in a much smoother way than if you don't have it. So again, folks, if you're one of the people who gets it every year, you know, don't waste time. Book it right away. If you're one of the people who is new to it and you want to just give it a shot, same thing. Book it right away, or you're not gonna get it. Okay. Okay. And again, my membership drive is on special, and the Anastasi system early bird is on special. And I'm done making all of my announcements. Sorry I took so much time. I had my personal stories in there I wanted to tell you too. Lisa, who is our first victim this evening? And folks, I want to remind you, if you stay with me until the end of the evening tonight, I'm going to give everybody here on the call the opportunity to email me one simple question. You can send that to lisasainc@aol.com or to the email that's right here on this program. And either way, I'm going to get it, and I will answer that email, that simple question. And here's what will go either in that question or when Lisa calls on you. Here's what I want to know. Your first name, where you're calling from or writing from, what state or country. I want to know what you're most grateful for in the world right now or in your life right now. I'm grateful for being alive and for my guides' protection and for great and wonderful people like you all around me. So I want to know what you're most grateful for. Those three things. I want to know your sun sign, because armed with this horary chart, I'm going to be able to give information that's going to help everyone on the call from just your sun sign, including you. And then I want your specific question. So there's 5 bits of information there that I really want from you, whether you're emailing me your question or whether you're asking it online live tonight. So Lisa, who's first, please?
Our first person tonight is going to be Becky.
Becky. And
Hi.
hi, Becky.
Hi. My name is Becky. I'm calling from Texas. I am a Libra, and what I'm most grateful for right now is the relationship that I have with my oldest nephew. I just adore him, and I appreciate that greatly. So my question tonight focuses around on children.
Hold on.
Okay.
Let's hold your question first. I like to do it this way because it's really amazing how the chart talks to you, and it might even answer your question before you answer it or ask it. Okay. You're a Libra. Libra's falling into, in this chart we're using tonight, this is it, only good for tonight, throwaway chart. It's falling into the house of children. So you were about to ask a question about children, right? Well, that's not a surprise. Here it is. And you also said that you're very grateful for your nephew. And you know, in your chart, I would say, because of the way I'm seeing it, almost looks like you feel like he might be your child, or maybe he was your child in another lifetime. The moon represents the mother, and here's the moon in the 5th house of children. And Mercury represents the child, and here it is in the house of children. You're talking about this wonderful relationship with this child or young person who's your nephew. Cool. These two planets are opposing. This is the house of friends or children. Well, this is the house of friends, okay, up here. And we have Neptune, we have Jupiter, we have Chiron. Neptune says these are things I don't know or see clearly. Jupiter says there's a lot of it. And Chiron says it's in the process of getting healed. So it's very possible that both your nephew is having a lot of these things he doesn't understand going on, that he's confiding and talking about with you, and you're helping him to heal him. But you might also have a question concerning children in general that you want to be able to reach out and help children who are having particular issues, but there's a healing quality to everything that's being talked about here. Now, both of these ends of, what is it, T, okay, make a square to the planet Pluto, and there's the long end of the T. And that comes out, think of it as an arrow, it comes out into the 3rd house. It's the empty end of what would be a grand cross. It's the bottom of the T, if you think of it as a T. And where there's a T square, the empty house or the empty sign becomes the focus of the energy. So there's a lot of focus on communication going on right now. There's a lot of focus on foundational education going on now. There's a lot of focus on something like reading or writing or creating a thought process. There's a lot of involvement with your sisters, your brothers, because the third house talks about them as well. And there's just in general a whole lot of learning going on about whatever the situation is that you want to ask a question on. And that what I said is going to pertain, folks, to all of the cardinal signs. That's the Libras, like you, the Aries, the Capricorns, and the Cancers. Okay, what's your specific question?
So my specific question, and I asked my guides if I needed or they wanted to give me guidance that you would call on me. So I am contemplating having a child by myself. I just turned 40, had the workup, and I'm at that point in my life where I kind of need to decide. I feel like there's a little girl waiting for me. I've dreamt of her, but I do have some serious concerns about raising a child completely by myself, both financially and just with no family nearby to help. So I've just been really like toying with this, and I'm just looking for a little bit of guidance in general.
Yeah, and you're not going to like what I'm going to say. I don't know if you're going to do this. And mind you, you notice how I said that. My guides don't know if you're going to do this because what your questions are, what your feelings of resistance are all very valid. Can I support this child financially by myself? If I had the child, would it make it difficult for me to find somebody in the future that maybe I might want to marry? Blah, 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 blah. I mean, there's all these different things that are going through. Am I capable of taking care of this child all by myself? You want to know something? I'm going to tell you something that my first mother-in-law said to me a long time ago. She said, children are, and by the way, I have found over the years she's right. She said, children are amazing. I said, how is that? And she said, no matter what the circumstances of the parents when the children come in, you always survive. God makes a way for that child to be taken care of in your custody. God makes a way if you so choose. And her name was Cassie. She was an Italian immigrant, wonderful, wonderful lady, and didn't have a high school education, but boy, did she have wisdom. And over the years, I have no children myself, but I've counseled thousands of people who have had children in all different circumstances and situations. You want to know something? If you want to make it work, you can. But if you have all those questions and all those fears, you will manifest them. And the fears are valid. It's kind of like a seesaw, isn't it? Okay. I can tell you this: if you have a child, and this is my own personal belief system, not just my guides, you are making a commitment, a personal commitment to put the well-being and the care of that child first and foremost in your life for, in our world, 18 to 20 years. So it's not about can I support it? You'll find a way. It's not about can I be a good mother? You will be. The real question is, are you willing to make that lengthy commitment to bring a soul in and give it the best start you possibly can in life? Because believe me, you won't attract just any soul. If you choose to have a child, you're going to attract a soul that wants you and that knows all the trials and tribulations and horror stories and good times and bad times that it's going to have while you're bringing it up. The soul knows these things before it manifests in you. It really does. That baby coming in from the other side knows what it's getting into. So the real question is, are you willing to make that kind of commitment? That's the thing I'm not sure. Okay. But I know if you had the baby, you'd be a good mother. I know if you had the baby, you're industrious, you're creative, and believe me, you would make the necessary sacrifices to find a way to bring that kid up and give the kid the best life that you could give it. That's not the issue. The issue is, are you willing to make the long-term commitment and the personal sacrifices necessary to bring a soul into life that you're going to guide and teach and hands off. When it's 18 or 20 years old, that kid says, okay, Mom, I'm open to the world. Thank you. Because parents don't get a lot back, do they? Parents take joy in teaching and guiding their child. Sometimes they get a lot back, but you can't expect it because you are likely not going to get it back. It's your gift. When you have a baby, you give that child the gift of care, the gift of nurturance until it's capable of taking care of itself. So I told you wouldn't like my answer, but that's my guide's answer and mine.
Well, thank you very much. I
Yeah.
really appreciate it.
I hope it helped a little bit.
Yep. Thank you.
You're welcome. And Lisa, who's going to be our next person?
Our second person tonight's going to be Nancy. Nancy, can you unmute?
Okay,
Hi there, Nancy.
Sandy.
Yes, hi. I can hear
Sandy.
you. Hi.
My name is Nancy. I'm from Ohio
Mhm.
and I'm a Sagittarius. And gosh, I'm thankful for my health, my friends, my dogs. I guess I'm thankful for a lot of things.
Thank you for sharing. That's very, very nice. And I want to point out that as a Sagittarius, tonight in this throwaway chart we use, here where the cursor is, here's where your sun will be in the chart. So I'm going to assume that you want to know about your relationships with the people in your life, where they're going, what's happening, what's going forward. Are you going to meet somebody? You know, it's all about the world around you. Again, we have no opposition. Well, we do have an opposition from your sun over here to Mars. So right now there might be a whole lot going on around you, not necessarily bad, just stuff, you know. So life is a little chaotic. It's a little bit hard to keep up with things. And you know, I think sometimes for you, especially now, it's hard for you to carve out your own space. And I think you have to maybe be a little bit more verbal in saying, hey, I need some time to adjust myself, and setting some boundaries in your life is going to be able to give that to you. There's a square here to good old Neptune. And so, you know, you may have a friend, a good friend who is either passed or has moved away, or that you have just intermittent connection to, who's very important to you. And it might not be a bad time to either make some kind of connection to that person or do something that uh, recalls them to mind, because that's a very important relationship, and it is going to come to terms with something in that relationship is going to open the doors for you to develop a similar relationship, which is, I think, what your heart is really wanting. It's like you want somebody to share space with, but to do it in somebody who can share space on your terms, not just on theirs. Am I making sense to you?
You have said it better than I could have ever have said it myself.
And I felt like my guys were rambling there, but you know, they're telling me something. They're telling me this, so it's got to mean something.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Uh,
So you've got to go back to that past relationship and understand it and come to terms with it. And is it going to be the thing that comes back into your life? Well, maybe not. But really understanding it, coming to terms with it, and relaxing into the now with that as a beneficial part of your world is going to open the door to recreating a new relationship, maybe with somebody new, maybe not with that same old person, possible. But the thing is, it's going to allow you to attract what you really want. See, as long as you're focusing on something, gee, I don't have that, I'm missing it, the universe is responding by withholding what you want, because it's only hearing what I want is to miss this. Okay, and that's not what you want. So you've got to be able to relax with it and say, oh, that was so lovely. I would love that with anybody in my life again. I would just love that. And all of a sudden now the universe knows what you want and it can come to you.
that's so funny that you've said that, because I have tried so hard to let go to let be kind of, and stop saying what I want and be willing to accept what's coming my way.
Yeah.
And I guess that's kind of leads me to my question, is that for the past year or so, I have had such a strong feeling that something or someone completely unknown to me is going to be coming to me.
And I think
But
you're right.
nothing's happened.
Yep, well, you know, you haven't done the letting go yet. You know, it's interesting. A long time ago, and this is a personal story. I'm not going to go into it in great depth, but a long time ago, I had two men in my life who were equally important to me. Oh my God, did I love both of them dearly. And I was not in a relationship with either one of them, okay? But I loved them both dearly. And I would go back and forth in my mind, well, you know, that would be this most wonderful relationship. Oh no, this would be this most wonderful relationship. And neither one of those relationships would ever move forward and become anything. And finally, one day I said, you know, I don't really want either of these relationships because obviously nothing's working out. And I just totally let them go. And I still didn't get into a relationship with them or anybody else because now I was just letting go of all relationships. And then one day I thought to myself, you know what I want? I just want to be in a relationship with someone who can hold me and make me feel loved. And I can make them feel loved. Almost immediately, one of those guys called me. It's the guy I'm married to right now. It was instant. And it was like, oh my goodness. Why? Because I finally gave a clear message to the universe about what I wanted. It wasn't him. It wasn't the choice between the guys. It was what did I want? And then the universe brought the person who could supply that into my life.
I have been, yeah,
Yeah.
and I have been trying to do it that way. I don't tend to be very patient.
No kidding. You're a fire sign. Aries, Sagittarius, Leo. There is not a lot of patience if you're a fire sign. It's one of the things you just have to put up with when you're here on the physical plane. Nothing happens fast enough for you guys. But if you are clear on what you want, if you're sending out those kinds of messages, if you're not clouding it with, well, I might want this or I might want that. You know, our last caller who was asking about the children, she's not getting a clear message from the universe because she's sending out I want to have a child. I don't know how I'm going to support the child. So the universe isn't going to deliver the child to her. You see, she's got to
Right.
she's got to send out a clear message. Most of the time when we don't get what we want in life, it's because we're not sending out those clear messages. And how many times do we get what we wanted like 5 years ago? And it's like, why am I getting this now? I don't want it anymore. I wanted it 5 years ago. It's because it took us 5 years to let it go. Okay.
Yeah.
5 years to get out of the state of confusion. It's about being in confusion. So the thing is that what's making you confused about what you want is that you're sending out cross signals. You're sending out what you want and you're sending out what you don't want at the same time. So if you want to speed things up and you want to stop having to be so impatient, and that could be one of the things that's actually slowing you down too, because you know you're saying, well, this is what I want, and then you're saying, but I want this, this, this too, and now again, it's not a clear message. There's conflict. You see?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, if you send out a message, I want this guy that I'm going to wake up next to every morning, and we're going to have this lovely ability to communicate and talk, and immediately you think of your child, your son, who probably isn't going to like him because he didn't like the last guy. And guess what? The universe had this guy right there ready. Nope, can't do it. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
really amazing how our brains screw up our lives. Okay. And when we allow ourselves to trust our feeling and flow with it, all of a sudden we begin to lead these perfect lives. Your intuition always knows what's coming next. I follow the work of Esther Hicks, the one who channels the group of spirits called Abraham. I follow her a lot. And what she will say is, move in the direction that brings relief. I say, move in the direction that your intuition says is going to get you the closest to what you want. Not what your brain says or even your emotional heart says, but your feeling. And she says you can tap into that feeling because when you take that step, if it's in the right direction, you feel better. And it could be a tiny little step. You don't have to take giant steps. You can take tiny little steps, one step at a time. So, for example, if what you want is that person that you can have that nice, quiet conversation with, maybe your first step is to join a group or a club where people can get together and have nice, good conversations and get to know each other. That's a little baby step, but it makes you feel better to do it. Do you see?
Right. Yeah. And I live out in the country, out in the boondocks. So that is kind of hard.
Well, it's not so hard. I'm going to tell another little story. I just had a man come in and do a inspection on my house, and he was this little Italian guy. Lovely. What can I say? Italian is coming up a lot, in my world today. He walked in the door and he greeted me in Italian, and I said, my name is Italian, but I'm sorry, I don't speak it. Okay. And he immediately started telling me the story about how he was so excited because he just got married. He'd been dating his wife, who was Filipino, online for 3 years. And they dated for 3 years online. They never met. They got married online. I didn't even know you could do that. And they met for the first time on their honeymoon in some Middle Eastern country, Morocco, I think, because it was the only place in the world, because of all the COVID restrictions, that they would allow them to meet.
Oh
and
my gosh.
now he's working on the visa to get her here. Now, did he give up because he lived in the country far, far away from his girl? So no, I don't want to hear those excuses. Not in our world today. Okay, there are always ways. You can join a group. You can join a group that has common denominators, common interests, people who can communicate and talk like we're talking now. They're all over online. You can get involved with a church. You can get involved with a social group in your neighborhood. And yes, you might have to drive 20 miles to go. You're in the country. Driving 20 miles goes by in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm 25 miles from the closest grocery store.
Yeah, but you get my point, okay?
Right.
Uh,
So mileage isn't anything.
right. So you've gotta unclutter your mind and know what it is you want instead of having all these cross conflicts. See, we already had a conflict. I know what I want, but I live in the country and so there's nobody here. You just created a conflict. The universe might have the perfect guy working the counter in that convenience store, but you don't want to go. It's 25 miles away. That's the conflict.
Yeah.
Have I made my point? You've got to also be willing to put a little bit of effort into it. Okay?
Yeah.
Follow your.
Yeah. And I
If you,
have tried very hard, like I said, to let go and let be.
yeah.
Um, and to mentally put out what I want without all those other the garbage. So yeah,
Yep.
I'm so
So
glad that you verbalized so
you're
perfect what I should be doing.
And I want to show you one more thing because this is important to everybody on the call. This is the card I just drew. I said, what is your block? What is the problem? And I picked up an inverted Four of Cups. What that card means when it's inverted is that you're not listening. So you might be putting out the thought really strongly, but you are not listening. So when you're getting that information from spirit that says, don't just go to that store, go a little further, go into town and join that club. Or go to church, not just, you can go to church Saturday, Sunday, go to church Saturday instead of Sunday. When you're getting that inner feeling, you're not acting on it. Something else in your life is taking precedence. You're going to have to start listening to your feelings, to your inner guidance system. And because you are going to have to take action. And by the way, if you're a fire sign, an Aries, a Sagittarius, or a Leo, you're action oriented. And you should not ever expect something, anything to just drop in your lap. Has it ever? You always have to initiate the action. It's part of being a fire sign. Don't you just love it?
Wow.
Yeah. So you got a lot of
Wow.
information to learn. And everybody who is listening, so this gal is a Sagittarius, folks, and she's a mutable sign. So if you are a fire sign, Sag, Leo, or Aries, okay, fire people just got a little bit of information. And if you're a mutable sign, Gemini, Pisces, Virgo, or Sagittarius, you also just got a whole lot of information. So I want to thank you for asking a question that I think probably gave answers to a whole lot of people on the call tonight. There's one other thing that this is a perfect time for me to talk about. Please, 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 folks, everybody should be keeping a journal right now. We are about to have the last two eclipses. One of them is in 2 days. The last two eclipses of 2022. Those eclipses show where life is going for the next 6 months, and they launch, get this, they launch 2023. So if you keep a journal, and you have to go back 2 weeks until around October 11th, go back 2 weeks to keep your journal and continue that journal all the way up through November 22nd. Everything that happened during that time period, this conversation with me, a conversation you have with a total stranger on a bus might be important. People that you meet, that you have interactions with that say, hey, you could be this or you could do that. Things that are out of the ordinary are most important to put in your journal. And that journal is going to show you all of the things you're going to be dealing with over the next 6 months. And folks, a lot of those things are going to be life-changing because these eclipses launch the year. Okay. Thank you so much. Your question really helped a lot to bring some important stuff out for everybody. Everybody should.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. And Lisa, who's our next person this evening?
All righty, our third little victim for tonight is going to be Karen H. Karen, can you unmute?
Hello.
Hey there, Karen. Nice to meet you.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, Karen, where are you calling from? What's your sun sign? What are you grateful for?
I'm from Pennsylvania, and my boys, I have 2 boys. And what was the other question I needed to answer? I forget.
And what's your sun sign?
Oh, Libra.
Another Libra, and it's interesting. Isn't this interesting? You're the second person who says I'm most grateful for a child, right? And you're Libra, so is she. Okay. I just love how oops. Okay, Lisa, we're going to have to mute her while I'm talking because we're going to get that feedback from our mics. And then as soon as I'm done talking, we can unmute her so she can ask a question, okay? Here's your children, here's your boys. And one of your boys is soft. He's got a gentleness to him. The other one probably will be more of your friend. Okay, so one of them is more somebody you can be friends with. The other one is more somebody who's more emotional, but more also softer. Good kids, they're probably going to be close to each other as well, strong emotional bond. You seem to have a lot of questions going on in your mind right now as to how, see there's an opposition here to this Aries, how to heal, and I'm going to talk about healing because of Chiron here, how to heal a problem that you're having with somebody who is either a long distance friend or family member, or maybe something in the relationship that you have with your children, with their father. But communication is going to be the key to the healing that you need to bring into your life. And whether that healing is for the kids or whether that healing is for you, I can't really tell, or for a close friend. but I know that communication and getting things out into the open, being able to talk about them is the thing that's going to bring healing to this situation that feels like it's a family situation. Lisa, go ahead and unmute her so she can ask her question, her specific question. Hello?
Karen, you're self-muted. Can you go ahead and unmute? There you go.
Hello there.
Can you hear me?
I
Hello?
can. Yeah.
Yes, that's correct.
Well, the
Yeah.
microphones don't like each other. That's what was going on there. So I appreciate your bearing with us. Okay, so well, first of all, how did that relate to what's going on in your life right now? Because that helps all of the
Oh,
cardinal
yes, that's,
Capricorns, Cancers, and
yes. Both my boys are very close. And the one is very, well, I feel like they're both very soft. But yes, that's true.
and how about the family issue that needs healing?
I guess that's with my girlfriend. That
Okay,
is like, she is like a sister to me.
okay, that makes a lot of.
Yes.
Mhm. And what's your specific question?
Well, it is funny. I went camping this weekend and something happened really unique that's not really ever happened to me before, which I got the message. But I was going to say what more needed to come from this. I went camping. I went to book my site again, and the lady at the register looks at me and says, "You've been here before with your mother, correct?" And I haven't, but I feel like my mom's passed. So I feel like that was my mom's way of saying she was with me all weekend.
Yes, yes. And there's something more here too. I have the feeling that your mom was either she was physically incapacitated for a long time before she passed, or she was in a life situation that just held her in bondage, so that she really wasn't able to do those things with you.
That's true.
And she wanted to. She
Hmm.
wanted. And so I think that she's around you a lot when you're doing. In fact, she might even be one of the people who, when you're thinking about it, she motivates you as a guide and says, "Yeah, go ahead, do that," because
She
she does
does.
experience those things with you when you're doing them, because she wasn't able to do that with you in life. So that was beautiful,
Yes.
very beautiful. Incidentally,
Yes.
you have a brother,
I do.
okay? What legal issue is your brother going through? Because your mother is very concerned about that. She says he's
Um,
mishandled.
the only thing I could think of is bipolar disorder.
Oh,
So he's not very in tune with his emotions very much, but I, there is a legal issue my mom really wanted me to get to the bottom of before she passed, but I just couldn't get to the bottom of it.
yeah. Well, and when I asked my guides, "Will you ever get to the bottom of it?" My guides are saying, "Yes, you will."
Yeah,
But
I'm on it every day. I pray about it. I always told her the sun will come out tomorrow, and I believe in that. And I feel like she works with me on the other side a lot.
yeah,
She Her spirit is very alive with me every day.
and now that you said that, when you said tomorrow, I want you to know that she knew you were going to ask this question as well tonight, because for the last, starting this morning, I was singing tomorrow. Tomorrow is just a day away.
Hmm.
So my guides give me information in songs. So apparently she's thinking the resolution of this is very very close, and
Yeah.
your brother's involved with it. So I don't know whether he is a distraction for you, or whether there's information he has that he's not giving, that he's not able to put his fingers on. But he is in some way not properly handling this legal situation. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get that situation resolved, it may be that you have to push him out of it. But when you get that situation resolved, the rest is going to unfold itself quite easily, I think.
Okay. I don't
Okay.
really know what he's involved with, though. You mean just in general how he was involved?
Probably how he was involved at the time. I see him.
Okay.
I see mishandling of funds, and there's stuff
Yes.
here. It's not that he's,
Oh, was this with his wife?
yes, yes,
She was the one that mishandled the money.
yes.
Oh, I got goosebumps everywhere. That's my confirmation. Yes.
It's not, and he holds himself responsible for that. And it's not that he, he just is not capable. That was the
Mm-hmm. Because she made him not, she did everything and made him like he was sick.
right. And the thing is, he does, he really does have problems, and so he's not willing to come forward and say this happened because his ego's too involved.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
you're the one who's going to have to say, okay, this is how I'm going to be handling this because I've got to look deeper, and you maybe have to push him out of the way to be able to do this. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but you will.
Is there paperwork at his house that I need
No,
to find?
nope. I think all of that's gone. Matter of fact, that's
Okay.
the problem. Things that should have been kept weren't. And I don't think it was out of malice. I think it was he should not have been in charge of those things.
Gotcha.
You know.
So she has a lot of the money then? His ex-wife?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. The answer to that is yes. And
And
you will be able to go back and track it and bring a suit to get her to pay back what she owes. You'll be able to do that, but you have to go around your brother because you'll have to go to sources and recreate the financial records that he never kept. And neither did she.
okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I always knew that she was involved. And it's something because I know my dad's attorney owns a lot of my dad's properties.
Yeah, it sounds like it's very convoluted. Hon, if you want to get into this a lot deeper, we can,
Yeah.
but we should do that in a private
Yeah.
reading.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I had to, I thought that was so neat with my mom, how my mom came in this morning.
and
Thank
mom
you so much.
information because that's what her concern is. So
Yes.
thank
Yes.
you so much. Okay, and I do
Thank
think
you.
information is going to maybe help somebody else on the call who realizes, yes, your deceased parents and people who love you are still on the other side helping you with things. You just have to listen, listen to them. They come from so many ways.
Absolutely.
Lisa, I can take one more person.
Okay, our next person is going to be Angela. Angela, you're unmuted.
Hi, I'm Angela. I'm calling from Hamilton, Ontario,
Oh, and
Canada. Hi.
Angela, I think it is the most wonderful thing for us to have our last caller with the name of Angel. Thank you. I love that name.
Thank you. Um, and I'm a Virgo, and I'm grateful for a beautiful daughter attending nursing school now at university. So I'm happy that she's happy and she's doing well. My question, or do you have something to say before I go on with my question?
Actually, I did because we did not talk about the mutable signs. You're a mutable sign. It's a Virgo, so I get to talk a little bit about the mutable signs. If you're a mutable sign right now, you've got family things on your mind because most of the fourth house is Virgo, okay? And you also have relationships because that's Sagittarius on the house of relationships. And you're also thinking about carving up time for yourself and can I do everything that I want to do? Like our Sagittarius friend from earlier, you are you're splitting hairs, you're spreading yourself very thin, and you're wanting to clone yourself to be in two different places at the same time. That could be because of your daughter may be going away to school. And you have a lot of confusion right now going on about something that you are just not seeing clearly. By the way, you're very musical, so try and build something creative into your life situation, maybe something with music. It will make you feel alive. It'll bring you back to life again. Okay, what's your specific question?
First of all, my daughter is a Sagittarian too, so it's great that you mentioned that. My question is confused whether I have like 3 part-time jobs and I feel like I'm being pulled everywhere, but is it time to move on and change careers?
Yep, in order to even ask that question, you already know this, okay? What you really need to be working towards is the career that you're going to be able to do the one job and get rid of 2 of the others and have
Yes.
the same money, if not more. And yes, you can do that. Now, let me ask my guys, do you already have the skills to be able to find that job? And the answer is no. Okay.
No.
What is the field that you're in right now?
Believe it or not, I'm a fitness instructor, so I'm getting about 4 or 5 classes a day. So I'm exhausted at 58 years old, and I also work part-time at a funeral home as a hostess there, and at a vaccine clinic as admin, checking people in. So, my weekends are taken up, and
Oh, wait,
exhausted
yeah,
training.
what
So
you
I
really
was
need,
thinking more about the fitness part, doing that even less and finding some more admin work during the day full time instead of
yeah,
3 part-time jobs.
and will that work for you? And the answer is, unfortunately, in a financial sense, no. Not unless you get additional training that's going to give you a higher pay. The problem is that your admin experience is all, hostessing, being the person at the front desk, and those aren't the high-paying salaries. Okay, so would it be worth your while? I'm searching here. Would it be worth your while to go back to school to get a more advanced degree so you could get into a higher position? And you don't want to do that, so that's not going to happen.
No.
Right. Be able to, would you be able to work up in, if you're not going to be able to work up in the funeral home. That's a dead end position. But if you
Right.
move into a bigger business as a hostess, would you be able to work up to a higher pay? And the answer is yes. So if you're willing to work up, because you're smart, you learn fast, but you're going to have to find a job that's doing that, that entrance level salary, and you're
Right.
probably going to have trade off. It's going to be slow. You're going to have to trade off one of those 3 jobs
Uh-huh.
um, for that job, and then work your way up and say, okay, well, I can handle this, because you have so many skills and abilities, which frankly is one of the reasons why you never went and developed any specific one. It's because no matter where you get dropped, you're really good at it. You see, so
Uh-huh.
you need to be in a big enough company where your skills and your capabilities are going to get recognition, and they're going to see we can train you to do this, and this, and then you can start to make more money at what you're doing.
Okay.
Okay. The other thing you might do, and I'm asking the guides if you do, um, if you had and someday you may, but in the future, if you had an alternative means of support, okay, because you'd have to have extra money coming in while you got this started, but you do have the capacity to do your own business, and you have incredible knowledge in the fitness area,
Mm-hmm.
and there are many, many people who have, uh, who work as a private fitness instructor or coach, and you
Mm-hmm.
can work online and you can write books and instruction manuals for it, and you can really develop that into something which brings in sustainable income. And you are capable of doing that, but you would have to be able to carve enough time out to build that out so that you could actually make it happen. But you could be very successful at that, and that might actually be where your biggest amount of money would come to you.
Wow. Okay. Great. Thanks.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much for asking some really great questions there. I appreciate it. My guides appreciate it. And folks, I want to say that I appreciate your time, all of you who've been here with me this evening. I'm so grateful to be here with you, to be alive, to be having these wonderful eclipses that are coming up, and moving into what I think is going to be a much, much better 2023 than we had 2022. Life's getting better, folks. And I'll see you back here next month on the 20th. Everybody have a great month. And don't forget, if you were here to the end, send me your simple question with where you're from, first name at least, what your simple question is, what you're grateful for, and what your sun sign is. Got to have that sun sign because I'll still be working with this chart. Thank you. Good night, everybody. Have a great rest of the week.